Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have it doubts, not what I'm about, have your f***ing cloud, it be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
All right. Hello, everybody. And hopefully now we're live and working. There was a little bit of a technical problem there for a bit, and I think we are good now. So tonight I have a very special guest for you guys, but before I do that, I'm going to do some housekeeping. You guys know the drill. So first off, thank you for joining tonight, my live on YouTube. If you have not found my website yet, get with the program, boys and girls. All the cool kids are going there. So shame on you if you are not there yet. It is magicaljourney.com. Go look it up, but not yet. Watch the live first. Likewise, if you have not found my Facebook group, Magical Journey, you see there's a little bit of a thing going on there. Go on Facebook and please like and subscribe to my group and my page there. All the cool kids, once again, are doing it. And I promise you, you will not regret it because there's a lot of good information that comes out there, including who and what I'm going to be doing on my live on my lives in the coming days. Um, anyway, with that said, and without further ado, I'm going to bring the best and most amazing prosperity witch I know to the stage, and that is Elly.
Oh, please.
Hey,
I'm not the
hello.
best, but I do appreciate it.
You are amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, I feel like we're having a deja vu moment here, but that's okay. Um, it's an inside joke. You guys will hear about it later. So, tell our folks a little bit about you and give them a little bit of an introduction because I don't think that I think you're going to be using some terms tonight that's outside their knowledge base.
Okay. So, hi, I am the Prosperity Witch, Ellie. The best way I can put it is I am a magical practitioner specifically of Druidic Hellenism. Oh my gosh. I've been on this journey for about 10 years. And I just like to say the best thing that describes me and my practice overall is I bring an absolute abundance of joy, love, luck, anything, anyone around me. And I'm a bit selfish, so anything I may need into the air.
Good deal. It's like, I love the way you put that. Um, so a little bit about trying to follow a couple of things at once here. So let's talk a little bit about the Hellenistic and Druidry
Yeah.
parts of your practice and give people a little idea of what really, when we're talking about that, what we really are talking about.
So Not many people know this, but I am of Greek descent. My father came from Athens, Greece. I'm first generation Greek American. That's where the Hellenistic part comes into play. It is, it's basically the culture, the religion, the livelihood of my ancestors, of my people back in home, even though, here's my home, but every so often I dream. And then as for the druidry part, druidism, it is very nature based, very earth centric, very much about the planet Earth itself, where we live and the nature and natural world that comes of it. It is, talking and getting that one on one connection with the trees, with the plants around me, with the spirits of the land around me, and making that personal and deep connection to really kind of just root myself into the earth and understand that I am one with the earth itself.
Right, right. This pretty much how I reconcile those two, that whole concept, I guess, in my own practice, because it kind of swings in there a little bit with the druidry. That's really hard for me to say for some. So let's talk about how, because this time of year, everybody has this weird kind of like skewed version of like Halloween and
Mhm.
Samhain being interchangeable. Let's talk for a minute about that and how that's not really the case, especially
All right.
like with your own practice.
Yeah. So, um, around this time of year, at least for me anyway, I like to say that the fall season leading up to Samhain, leading up to, All Hallows Eve and all that jazz. I like to say for me that it's very much a time of self-reflection. A lot of people call this time, the witch's new year and what have you. So for me, I take that little term and I think, okay, we're coming into a new year, right? So most people think New Year's resolutions. What are they going to do next year? For me, nah. It's all about what have I done? What have I done this past year? How has it brought me to where I am today? What were the things that I reaped, benefited from? What were the things that didn't do me so well? How can I go about that in the future? And really kind of just applying that mindset to this upcoming year with, all right, I've learned everything that I've learned this past year. Let's go forward with this new knowledge. Let's strive for a better year or just some sort of year where I truly can be benefited to the way that I need to be.
Right, right. And it's, I kind of liken it to how as the year starts slowing down during this time of year and things start to like go into what we call a rest cycle, here in the northern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere. I had to make sure I was there in the right
Yeah, I
place.
gotcha.
Um, it's kind of the same thing for us as we start to slow down, as work starts to slow down for some people and so forth, and our lives take on more of a preparing for the cold days cycle. Um, the inner reflection starts, you know, in a way with everybody. So it's kind of a natural part of the cycle to, you know, spend more time reflecting, I think, this time of year. And maybe for some people, it's getting ready for the holidays and reflecting on that. But either way, there's still that introspective of what, obviously, I'm trying to use words I'm not that educated to be using for that.
It's okay.
Um, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
when it comes to the idea, let's talk a minute even about prosperity, because I think that's even a word that's highly misused and not
Oh,
quite
I can
understood.
tell you all about that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's
No,
talk
so,
about that.
people think, oh, he's the prosperity witch. So, money magic, finances, this, and yes, but to me anyway, prosperity is just the best way that I describe it to anyone when they ask is it's an abundance of blank, abundance of love, luck, Abundance, yeah, of finances, sure, but it is not only just an abundance, it could be success. It could be, bringing things in to just better benefit you, the people around you, the situation, anything that you need more of, anything that you are lacking. To me, that's what prosperity means.
Right, right. And I think that's a really, really good way of putting all that because, a lot of people get stuck on the financial part of it, and I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, the kind of the concept of, what they call the prosperity gospel.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of people have kind of taken that to represent uh, the definition of prosperity in general. And
right,
obviously, there is a lot more that goes into it. Like you said, happiness, you know, um, an abundance of warmth in the house, a lot of things that go into that. Um, I think, do you find it really confusing to some people about the concepts of um, what's the words I'm looking for here? The concepts of being able to like when we talk about doing prosperity workings, we're talking about actually like what some people call casting and so forth. Uh,
oh
a
yeah.
lot of a lot of people have a lot of opinions about what that is, and so fill us in a little bit on that too. Exactly what is the term casting, and how does that play into actual workings and not some kind of crazy, child eating ritual that people envision things to happen.
So, a lot of my practice is just me doing my own thing. So, the way I would like to think about it is when it comes to casting, casting is the framework of it all. You're piecing together, the puzzle, and this in itself, like imagine a ball. I guess I don't know. This like I'm putting the ball here in my hand. I'm putting everything into it, making sure everything is there from start to finish. And the casting is the actual go forth and doing of said thing. So like, I'm throwing the ball now. All right, that's me casting it, right? So that's me throwing it. That's me saying, all right, this is what's been done. I put all that work. Now I'm putting it out there. A lot of people, and I'm sure you've come across this too. A lot of people think, just cast the spell, one and done. Light that candle on it. And I mean, sure, if you're lucky, but especially when it comes to my workings, I have to really remind myself, all right, I asked for, an abundance of love or an abundance of like luck. Those are my two go tos, as you'll probably hear me say a lot. And so for me, it's like, all right, I asked for that. Now it's time to put myself in that mind frame and go about it. So for love, I'll like dress better. I'll look at myself in the mirror and I'll tell myself, hey, this is what's going on and you got this. Luck, I'll just put that in my mindset that I am lucky enough to get XYZ. I am at my job and I'm lucky enough that I'm here now and hopefully I can get promoted up and skyrocket even more as long as I keep thinking that is what I deserve, that is what I want, and that's what I'm gonna get.
Right, right. Because I think you're right when it comes to things that people like when I hear people talking a lot, they're like, oh, I you're enchanting this or you're doing this or you're doing that, and all of those terms become interchangeable to a lot of people, and that's
Right.
not really the case. A lot of people, I don't even like using the term witch anymore, actually, because it's so misunderstood, and it's like one of those comments is like it seems almost like it's become tainted and derogatory now in a way because people they almost view it as everybody is like worshiping the devil and doing these
Right,
dark
and
weird things,
I
and
mean, sure, you might be, but that's only like a small part of it rather than the bigger picture.
right, and a lot of people don't even who practice don't even really have a theology based on that sort of thing.
No,
So,
exactly.
so it is unfortunately highly misrepresented thanks to Hollywood and thanks to like just mainstream religious beliefs. Even a lot of different religions, have a strange view of um, the sort of things that, when we talk about casting or talk about, you know, manifesting or anything else like that. They all have a weird view of it, and it seems highly distorted to me. So let's talk for a bit about when you what are some of the things, what are some of the, yeah, I know you said you do your own thing and so forth, but what are some of the ways that people who practice prosperity magic um, go about manifesting? Like, do they
So,
use,
oh,
do you measure with
I love
earth?
talking
Do
about
you use
this.
quail?
Um, so I love to get down and dirty with it. So I'll go outside and I'll find like a really pretty stick, like this stick that I brought home from the Renaissance Festival, and I'll just like tell myself, okay, this is ingredient one to something. I don't know yet. Like say, okay, this could be an attraction thing. Sure, we'll go with that. This is ingredient one, and I'll go in my pantry and I'll find things that to me it has to radiate with me. But if I feel like it can bring something to me, that goes in the bowl, that goes, and I start whipping it up. The best example I have of this is my money bowl is probably not like a traditional money bowl that most people, you know, would think. A lot of people would think, okay,
Hmm.
coin, dollar bills, etc. No, not so much with mine. Mine is sticks, dirt, rocks, anything that I consider valuable to me. And I'm like, all right, this has a certain value to me anyway. So it's going to bring me an exponential amount of value as long as I keep working with it. And it's just very much like when I said I'm all about nature, I'm not kidding.
Right, right. And I like that you say what brings value to you. I think that's another thing, because you can find all these really great correspondence lists and books, and there's all kinds of things written about correspondences and so forth, especially when it comes to money jars and all that kind of stuff. But there's also, and that's really what you're talking about, is personal correspondences. And I think that is one of the things that a lot of people really they don't understand what that really is. But you literally just nailed the definition of what a personal correspondence would be, um, which is great. So so you've got your money jar thing going on, or your money bowl. Now, what are some other things that you do in your practice? Because obviously
Oh,
it's not just
no, not by
like,
any means. So
yeah.
on a day to day, and uh, my friends have been guilty of witnessing this, but you know what? That's on them, not on me. Uh, I will literally just walk up to a plant or I'll go like somewhere outside and I'll just start talking to the plant, talking to the grass, even talking to the tree. Like I'll just have a conversation, and they're like, "Are you what? Are you crazy? What's going on?" I tell them, "Shh, no, this is me. Like this. This is how I get the things out there because it's just I on a daily. That's why I say a lot of my practices. If you ever hear me pray, because I do pray, like that's a form of practice that I partake in. A lot of it is I'm praying, and my keyword that I say is spirit of the land or spirit that is here with me now. Hear my prayer, and I continue forward stating whatever it is, and I just talk. And a lot of my friends are just like, you're crazy. I say, sure, maybe I am, but hey, this is how it gets out there, and it's to me, it gives me results. What can I say? And it's not just
Right.
that I'll brew a cup of tea and I'll pour it outside on the ground, and they're like, you just wasted a cup. Yes, I did for you, but for me, I gave it to.
Right. it becomes an offering, and
Yeah.
that's the thing that I think is so important, with anybody who wants to actually practice, any form of craft, is, you know, it's good to read books and it's good to become informed, and you want to learn things. I mean, learning is always fundamental, right? Reading is always fundamental. Those processes are important, but the most important part, I think, is to personalize it, to bring it home and to do your own thing. Because it's easy to have a textbook practice,
No,
really.
exactly. And I when I started my practice about 10 or so years ago, I started off probably as most people do, in the mainstream Wicca, things like that. And so that's where I got my foundation. And then once I really found out, this doesn't work for me, and really started thinking about what I wanted, what I saw myself as. I really just saw myself when I was a kid. I always used to talk to the moon, and I would be that little boy that like ran up and hugged a tree for whatever reason, doesn't matter. And so I was like, I want to be that kid again. Um, because for whatever reason, that kid was happy. That kid was always ecstatic. That kid just knew things. And I was like, that's it. That's who I am. And I just started implementing that into my day to day. And here I am now.
Yeah, I'm not even ashamed to admit that there is more than one picture floating around on the internet of me hugging trees, even in my adulthood. So, uh, like literally hugging trees. Uh, it's really, I think a lot of people don't understand that, because we hear a lot about the thinning of the veil and, the
Mhm.
ancestor thing this time of year and all those things, but I, and all those things are good. And, I include the ancestors and this time of year for myself. I always include the ancestors and stuff, but, um, the fact of the matter is we, there's more to it than just the thinning of the veil. I mean, getting connected
Right.
with the earth this time of year, and, even the earth spirits. I think that's one of the things that, in the druidic sense and in the green sense, a lot of people don't understand is that the spirits of the earth, the elementals and so forth, is very
No,
important.
exactly. I mean, heck, growing up, I always, a lot of my friends, and they always just tell me, and I'm all about my friends if you can't tell. But anyway, so a lot of them, they just always tell me, you're the nature boy, you go out there, you talk to the trees, you talk to the plants, you talk to thin air sometimes. And I tell them, maybe it's because I will admit I am most definitely an animist. But for me, like, I have a couple of plants in my house and they are, basic science, right? Plants are living things. So of course, to me, I'm like, they have to have a spirit. Of course, I'm going to talk to them. Of course, I'm going to feed them, water them, because they're helping me out. So I'm going to help them out whatever which way I can. And I take that mindset and I even go about it through my day to day when it comes to just talking to the more ethereal spirits that I work with, like the deities of the Hellenistic pantheon. I'm like, they are here, at least to me. They've shown themselves to me in a way that matters. And so I'm going to go about them, honor them to the best of my ability, and talk to them and, form that bridge.
Right, right. I think it wow, there's so much stuff going on in my mind right now with this conversation. So with that, I want to, for a moment, I want us to really talk about, because one of the things that you mentioned is the moon and talking to the moon as a child and so forth. Does that play into this time of year for you at all?
Maybe not so much the talking aspect, but it is more of a silent communication. Just the other day, I walked out of my home and I looked up, it's a full moon, right? And I winked at it because I was like, I don't know why, but I see you. It was one of those, I see you, I feel you. So I just winked at it and went about it.
Hey, hey, Fire Lotus, how are you doing? We have visitors.
I see.
So so that is one of the things that I think is also kind of a misconception for a lot of people is that like, you know, everybody thinks that all practices like this time of year observe, the moon, like last night the moon was full. And while a lot of us do, you know, we do focus on the moon and the moon energy for some things, it's not the be all and end all of all
No, not
practices.
by
And
any
I think
means.
I think that again, that's one of the things um, that's really important for people to understand is the individuality of all of the things that we practice. Pam, thank you for like sharing that out for Lotus. That's awesome. Um, the the way that we like just the way that we jive with and we tackle our practice, I guess is a way I want to put it, um,
Mm.
is is something that's like I know for me, even like this time of year, like showering becomes a totally different thing for me because now this time of year I'm more focused on you know the relaxation part of
Mhm.
it and the emotional healing part of being in the water and so forth and the cleansing of all of the stuff from the seas
No,
from the
I
summer.
got you. I was actually about to make that comment about how you probably took like a cleansing shower, washed it all away, that whole thing.
Yeah, washing away all the, because during the summertime, it's all about, I gotta get in the shower and go, and so we build up all this garbage, right, from all summer long. And then, this time of year, we're a little more relaxed. We're a little more, it's cooler outside, so we're not so much on the go. And now it's more about like the deep spiritual cleansing, I think, in a way. Um, which again you kind of alluded to earlier by the going more inward this time of year, which is always such a nice break. Um, so I know very well that people that are going to be watching this, if they're not watching it now, there are people that are probably going to be watching this later that are like, oh my God, I need a book reference on how to go about practicing this, or I need to know more about some reading material on prosperity magic. So for
I
those who,
always promote Jason Miller's Financial Sorcery book. That's one of my top ones. And if not that, then um, pick up a book about earth magic because prosperity, in my opinion, is very earth based. It's very like maybe that's just because what I do, but just any generic book about earth magic, you're bound to find something that is all about abundance and bringing things towards you in that matter.
right, right, and so do you, I know you've probably have mentioned this already, but I want to reiterate this. So do you do workings for other people?
I do actually. I have some services and whatnot that I do as a little side gig other than my day job. I do rituals and whatnot for other people. That's one of them. And a lot of people, they always ask me when I do these things, they're like, "What do you need from me?" And I always have them like, "Just tell me what your goal is. Just tell me what your goal is, and just be aware of X, Y, Z after I do whatever I do."
Right, right. Because I think, when people talk about, well, what do you need from me? It's like, I almost want to go, I mean, do you think I need a piece of hair or something?
No,
That,
that's only for the special kind of things.
give me a fingernail. Let me have a fingernail.
Right?
Um,
Oh,
yeah.
you just had your time of month. Well, anyway,
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. Wrong prosperity. We don't want to prosper with that. That could create a whole litter of problems, literally. Um, so when we talk about
oh, Libra
the
Chaos is a
idea,
good book. I've also read that one. I didn't think about that.
that is a book I need to get on my list of. I've got so many books right now on my list. It's not even funny. Like there are books in this case that I'm still reading. Um,
Oh,
but
I know how that feels. I have a plethora of books that I probably should read that I've picked up for whatever reason.
I'm telling you. So, and again, I don't want when I talk about like making everything your own and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. I am not denouncing reading. Obviously, I
No, not by any
read.
means. It's how a lot of us
Yeah.
got started. I mean, yeah, the internet is a thing too, but I grew up when this was only barely coming to the surface, you know? So,
Oh, let's talk about that for a minute. Like, I literally grew up in a time when you might be able to find a book here or there. There was no internet. So basically, it was all word of mouth and
mhm.
learning from trial and error a lot of times.
Right.
And, you know, case
I
in
mean, heck,
point,
one of my I always tell people I don't teach. Most of my content you'll find on any of my platforms are not going to be basic how choose this or the other. And that's solely because for me, I found everything that works for me by doing it myself, by that trial and error process. Where this one spell that I wanted to help me land this job didn't really quite work, so I'm going to tweak it and do this, that, and the other. And so everyone always tells me, "Oh, when are you going to teach me this?" And I tell them, "I can't. I'm sorry. Maybe I can, but I don't know."
right, right. I went through that whole teaching phase for a while and I got really over it because frankly, the platform that I was teaching on was very toxic and, and it was stuff. There was a lot of stuff. Um, I love this. Yes, I'm my own guinea pig. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
And it's like,
I will be honest. I have other guinea pigs. That's what my friends are for. Sometimes I make an oil and I
mm,
tell them to just wear it, just so that way I can see what.
right, right. And there's another thing that I gotta tell you, like the opportunity to be able to accidentally make a really good oil is
Mhm,
definitely out there. And there's like one of the, it was during one of the super full moons a
mhm.
while back that I think I actually did a video on part of that too. It may actually be on here, but it's definitely on the other platform. Um, and I accidentally stumbled upon making a really great oil for that prosperity ritual. And I gotta tell you, it's like I have not been able to recreate that oil since.
Oh,
So I
I
use
had
it.
an experience probably about a few months back where I was just in the shower, of all places, just in the shower. And like, I just started thinking of like ingredients, this, that, or the other. And then I zone out because I'm me. And I just in my head, I'm seeing myself make this. So I make this oil that I see in my head, like ingredients, and I gave it to a friend, and it was a binding and vanishing kind of blend, which is funny because at the time he was dealing with someone who he really needed to get out. So I told him, okay, I said because the oil had a rusty nail in it, I said don't put it on your skin because it also had other things, but do what have you. And 2, maybe 3 days later, he came back to me and he said, "I don't know why or what you did, but, that person, they stopped." And I was like, "Oh, okay, there you go."
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, you know, yeah, twisted. I feel you. I have a cabinet that's got a few things in it that I've created that some of it I should be able to reproduce. Um, but there's always that one in a million oil that you do that there's just nothing like it. The energy was just right, the workings were just right. And let's talk about the word workings for a minute because there's a whole like a lot of people think that all you have to do is sprinkle some. a little bit of herbs around a candle and light the candle, and it's kind of like blowing out the candle on a birthday cake and making a wish, and that's all you have to do. But that's really a misconception.
No, yeah. There's a lot behind it. There's a whole frame of mind I have to get in.
Yeah, yeah. And not only that, but like sometimes, like for instance, if you are making a special oil, it takes time to do that. It takes time to, put the oil together. It takes time
Mhm.
get to push the intent into it and work with the oil. It takes time to, put together the all the ingredients. If you need to crush the herbs and so forth, all that takes
Right.
time.
And fun
And,
fact actually, now that we're on this topic, my prosperity oil blend, it's never the same. I've never made the same prosperity oil blend ever.
mhm, never, ever, ever. Like I might use the same oils occasionally to try something, especially if it's one that's worked really well before.
Pamela.
I'll try. I know, right? Pam has some really good comments a lot of time, and I always love her energy. I really do. Um, it's it is so much about just being able to, you, when it comes to the workings, putting your all into it. And like I said, it
Mhm,
takes time to assemble things. Sometimes it may take days or even
mhm.
weeks.
No,
You know,
exactly. And then for me anyway, the actual once I get everything together and do it, then I'm down for the count and I'm on my couch just passed out or something. I don't even know.
right, right. So, when people talk, like people envision, everything working out just like it was you a short video where people are like sprinkling the herbs and doing this and doing that and whatever and like lighting the incense and all that stuff, and then they think that's all there is to it because that's all the process they see. But quite
Mhm.
frankly, one of the things that I find, and I guarantee you'll probably agree with me on this, is there is very little glamorous work going on here behind the scenes. It's not that glamorous, is it?
No, I get
No.
lucky if any of my stuff even looks remotely pretty.
Right, right. Like, and you always see all these really amazing videos on other platforms, like these breathtaking views of
Mhm.
candlelit rooms, and
With the
of
incense
course,
just hitting the light just right and rising up or something.
right, right. Um, can it make
I mean, I mean,
the one of the things that like I find with all that though is again, like you said, a lot of times it is not like and my plate with my candle on it has got wax dripping all over the place. The incense going everywhere. And nothing is like it's not that. It's just not that picturesque.
no.
And
I mean, heck,
and
the amount of times I nearly burned myself or something while trying to.
so how many times have you set your altar on fire?
Oh, but that happened recently, and what was it yesterday? During some of my rituals that I did, I almost drowned myself, and I was like, okay,
Right, right. That's part of it. That's why I'm saying it's like there is the glamour part you know of just practicing in general. You know, People see these elaborate rituals and so forth all the time, and they think that, this is the way it always is, and it is not always. It's like some of the more simple things like, grounding and centering and so forth like that, it's just not that much like it's not this picturesque flowing robe, gently blowing wind kind of scene ever.
now will I
And I,
do my best to do that? Yes, but hey,
right, right. we all have that of all the cleanup. Exactly, exactly. Because nobody wants to have a dirty altar after they've got through doing this stuff,
Oh, well,
or
let's not look at my altar then. I'm gonna pretend that it's clean for this sake.
or if you do, I mean, a lot of people do kitchen witchery and so forth. And let's face it, if you're baking a cake or whatever you're doing, in the name of kitchen witchery, it's never going to be, it's just not going to be a pretty sight. I mean, you got cake batter, potentially going all over the place. You've got like you've got dirty dishes with your, yeah, unless you're cleaning as you go, which is always a really good idea too. But then
I don't got
sometimes,
time for that.
right, not only that, but don't you find that it kind of loses the impact of like pushing your intent into things if you get redirected on cleaning while you're trying to do these things?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I really want this to happen, but oh wait, I gotta wash this dish. And it's and you lose your visualization and everything else trying to clean a dish. So I
No, I
think I
got you.
think yeah. So I think a lot of people have like some big misconceptions about like all of us just donning these amazing outfits and doing just these really stylistic rituals and so forth like
Right. I
that.
mean, I have a little outfit or two that I put on for certain rituals just to get me in the mood. But nine times out of ten, like I'm just like guns blazing, going for it, doing whatever I can, and trying. Oh, I still want to know how the heck I almost drowned myself yesterday, but I'm not gonna go into it. Like it happened. There was water. Next thing I know, that anyway.
Right. Yeah, I have not set my altar on fire before, but I have like come very close to setting like an altar cloth on fire and
Mhm.
just doing ridiculous
Oh,
things
there
like
have been times where I left a candle because me being me like going somewhere else, and next thing I know, my fire alarm is going off 2 hours later, and I'm like, oh, I forgot.
let me tell you, like I did this when I think it was Don Salwan one year. Um, I did this one very intense, long ritual. The only time I've ever done something like that before. And afterwards, I went to bed and I woke up like the next morning. There's this one candle still on my altar, just burning away. And I'm going, holy crap. Did I do that? Did I just leave a candle unattended and went to sleep all night long?
Listen, my best thing, and I always tell so many people because they get on to me for leaving candles unattended all the time. I'm like, as long as there's nothing around it, in my opinion, that is flammable. And granted, I'm hopefully correct on what is and what isn't flammable around said candle. Then I'm okay to leave it just for a bit. Now, I'm not going to leave it overnight when I'm asleep, no. But
I just happened to like, it was one of those situations where I was so drained afterwards. I went to sleep. I put all the other candles out, but this one was like, it was still a little tiny flame. And it was like one of those column candles that had melted down to where it
did
was like
a
covered up
little
really.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't like a lot of danger, but still, I mean, the idea of like leaving a candle going all night while you're asleep, bad idea. I think probably the other thing that is really kind of, it's a common thing that will happen, when you're doing workings and so forth, knocking stuff over. Oh my gosh. Like
Listen, the amount
I
of times I
had,
nearly burnt my, or not even burnt, but like just kind of stung my hand or something with the incense because they're on fire for a potential amount of time, and but they're
yeah,
still high.
right, right. And that's one of the you're welcome. You know what? That's one of the things that I have a problem with too, is like, or, you know, here's another thing that's like so typical is I'll have it like one of my cast iron instant burners
Mhm.
going, and I'll forget, and I'll like pick it up or whatever, pick up the lid or whatever, and it's hot, and I'm like, ah, you know, that wasn't what I wanted to do
You
there.
see,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I think my hands went numb for the amount of times that I've like burnt or nearly burnt them. Now,
Hmm.
my most recent issue that has become a really repetitive issue i- is when I do some sort of smoke cleanses or work with smoke in any iteration, whether that's through incense or what have you. I'll smoke out my entire place, end up suffocating me, my animals, anyone who's here with me, and they're like, "Open a window," and I tell them, "No, I'm doing this or that."
Right. Right. Oh yeah, that's the other. Actually, when I smoke cleanse, I always keep one window open anyway.
Yeah, I'm learning to get better about it now, but like, but
Yeah.
my fire alarms will go off. Then you won't be able to see nothing, and I'll have a coughing fit, but I'll still be going and doing whatever. And I'm like, I'm getting through it.
Right. I want to get all those things out. So you mentioned, so here's one of the things that's is really kind of, I think a lot of people want to know too, is if you're doing stuff, yeah, my cats don't like sage. They don't like any of like
I'm
they
very
don't like
certain I'm the
smoke.
reason why my cat has allergies.
Yeah, yeah. Um, One of the things that people like to know about, and I'm sure there's some people that are wondering right now too, is what are some of the herbs and oils that you use to when you're
So
working with
it
prosperity?
it depends on what's around me. Um, I have a lot of pine trees, a lot of like, traditional stand tall pine needle kind of pine trees around me. And I've learned that those are really good. I mean, especially around the winter season, but those are really good for abundance, protection, things like a bunch of things of that nature. I work a lot with bluebonnets, which you wouldn't think are prosperity esque. But because they are in so much abundance around me during the springtime, and yeah, it may or may not be a no no to pick them here in Texas, but I still do. I'll pluck them and I'll be like, all right, you're coming home with me. We're doing this. But yeah, I work with a lot of my local stuff juniper, pine. Uh, what's the most recent thing that I've been using in my practice overall? Uh, oh, what's it called? I can see it over there. Oh, holy basil. There we go.
Mm.
Um, and again, a lot of people, if you know the basic, if you know what they're more commonly known for, you probably look at me in a weird way. But like, bottom line, yes, I use what it's more commonly known for, but I also take into, because again, for me, prosperity can mean an abundance of whatever I need it for, protection, anything. And I just take that and I'm like, all right, I need an abundance of protection because I feel like I'm being attacked. I need an abundance of luck because I have a job interview at, anything of that nature. And that's how I go about it.
Well, not only that, but when it comes to especially evergreens, I mean, they're evergreen. So you using them for their perseverance through all things in prosperity can be a really good correspondence even. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is like a lot of time correspondence has to do with the character of the item you're using too,
Right.
not
The
just, yeah.
the character of it, what it symbolized. Now, in my opinion, there's a difference between what its properties are and what it can symbolize. Uh, and that takes into effect like for the blue bonnets when I first started working with them it was mostly because yeah they were local to my area and I whatnot, but it was also because my ex-fiance's father at the time gave me a baby blue bonnet because he knew I'd take care of it to the best of my ability. I killed it, we're not going to talk about it. um but at the time when I was really trying my hardest to understand this plant, that's what I also like to do. I like to understand it, really get a feel for what it's for. And I researched and I learned, oh, this plant has a symbolic meaning behind it of like renewal and growth and
Mhm.
things of that nature because of an old Native American like tradition. Now, I'm not one to step on Native American toes by any means. You know, that's not my practice, not my monkeys, whatever the term is. But it's the symbol behind it. I'm like, oh, okay, it symbolizes rebirth. It symbolizes regrowth. How can I apply that in my prosperity workings? Well, sometimes I need to rejuvenate myself. Sometimes I need to renew myself and come again to like XYZ situation with a new framework. So I'll take that bluebonnet, throw it into my spell, into my working, whatever I'm doing at the time, and I'll really focus on that and just go about, I need this and I need a plethora of it. For a lot of people who don't know, the reason why I always focus on abundance or plethora of XYZ when it comes to my prosperity magic, I grew up very poor. My mom had to work 3 or 4 jobs, if I can remember correctly, just to support her and me alone. So I never had a lot growing up. So that's where my mindset of abundance of blank comes from, is because I just remember not having almost anything as a child and really being in need. And I tap
Mhm.
into that and I go for it.
Exactly, exactly. And I think, and again, if you grow up in a household without a lot of emotional support and so forth, getting an abundance of love in your life. Um, maybe you grow up in a house that like is lacking in other ways. There's so much that you can look back on to bring into your life as an adult. Pam has a really good
Yeah, I
question.
just saw it too.
You know, do you, do you have to make your own oils? For some reason, that took a minute. Um,
No, I got you. So I'm gonna say the direct answer, which would be a no. I don't have to, you know. I can get my oils any which way, but for me anyway, this is just a personal thing. Um, Making them just gives them that extra oomph because I'm like, okay, I put my own effort into this, so of
mhm.
course it's bound to like do what I specifically need it to.
Right. One of the things that I'm lacking the ability to do is like when I make my own incense or I make my own oils, they don't smell very pretty.
Yeah, I'll be honest, incense not my forte. I can clump up my incense blends are me just like grinding a bunch of herbs and resins and being and just throwing them on a charcoal disc. There we go.
They literally smell like burning leaves to me.
Yeah, they just that's it. They smell like burning leaves, but I'm like, you know what? It's smoking, and I can say that the stuff that I used is for whatever I need it for.
Hmm. Exactly, exactly. And I think that's one of the things that's like a misconception too. Like even with oils, like okay, so I've made a lavender water
Oh, sweet
recently.
almond oil is sorry, I just saw the sweet almond oil is great for prosperity workings of all kinds.
Yeah,
Actually, a lot
it
of nut
really
oils,
is.
a lot of nuts, a lot of nuts.
Right, right. It a lot of the nut oils are very good, definitely. Sweet almond, I love for all kinds of reasons. It's just a really nice oil to be using uh,
Now,
altogether.
I'll be honest, a lot of my oils, the base oil is olive oil, and that's just because I can go to the grocery store and get me a little thing of that much olive oil for like almost not even a dollar, maybe 50 cents, give or take.
Right, right. I use olive oil, but it's like it's really heavy and it
You don't use that extra virgin olive oil, you know, for that like the virgin blood aspect. I need to be quiet.
I don't I don't, I really, I do, but it's still kind of heavy compared to some of the other oils. Like grapeseed oil is um, a lot thinner oil.
Mhm.
Uh,
Really, actually,
and
the one and only time I used grapeseed oil, it's very thick, and I okay.
really, really, huh.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, the ones that I really gravitate toward are the sweet almond and like occasionally I'll use coconut oil, but not so much so uh, for like just to make just an oil. Like I use it more for like doing like making salves and stuff like that, which I haven't made them for. So with that said though, um, so we've talked about ingredients, we've talked about a lot of things today. Wow, we have
Mhm.
covered ground. One of the things that I really want to go back to as we kind of bring this home tonight is if you, um, I, I had a squirrel moment because something said, um, going back to, okay, here we go. So
All right.
going back, going back to where we were talking earlier about practices, some of the things that apply to this time of year and so forth. So if somebody is seeing this and they're just really starting out and they want to kind of focus on things that would apply a lot to this time of year uh, and bring it in under the prosperity banner, what
Mhm.
are some suggestions you would have for them with that?
So, oh, okay. Um, well, a lot of this time of year, as I mentioned earlier, it's about, reflection and whatnot. So what I normally do is I take time out of my day. And it's gonna sound so mundane, but that's the beauty of it, right? It sounds so mundane because in essence it is, but that's what gives it its kick in my opinion. I take time out of my day, I just am by myself in the quiet, whether it's like in my room, everything off, or I'll go outside by this really, oh my God, there's a really beautiful oak tree not too far from me. And I'll just sit by it, calm as can be, quiet as can be, and just listen and focus. Because I like to say that if you're quiet, especially around this time of year, and you're really wanting, things to come to you in essence of prosperity, for example, the world will tell you what you need. The world will provide you that like knowledge. You just have to understand that what you may want, there's two different things. What you may want may not be what you need. And is what you need that 9 times out of 10 manifests more when it comes to prosperity work. I can say I want this like feeling of love. I want this protective barrier here and there. But do I need it? That's where the prosperity comes in. It, from my experience anyway, it comes at me more so on what I need than what I want.
Right, right. And one of the things I like to do too is more along the lines of what most people call manifesting, where I envision what I want as being what is in my life right now.
Mhm.
And I think about the feeling that it gives me to have this in my life, you know, and
Yeah,
kind of
you
like,
and you get all your senses. You see it, you like feel it. I
yeah,
got you.
yeah, because you really want to like you really have to, in a sense, to make it work, for me at least, you know, to bring it all in and then be able to push that energy back out,
I
to
always
be able to,
quote this. I always quote this, but as the late and great Debbie Reynolds said in Halloween Town, magic is so simple. You just want something and let yourself have it.
wow, yeah, yeah, is so very true. Yeah, you guys definitely go and check out Ellie's stuff on his platforms or their platform. I'm sure you will find another squirrel moment with those pronouns today. Um, I have an idea that you will really enjoy because they've got some really cute videos on
Oh, thank you.
the one on this particular. I love your actions and your reactions on some of your videos. I literally just go back and watch some of them over and over with some of the reactions you have. Um, these are like, here's another one coming up. That one, yeah. Yeah. And is which one of these is the one that like, is there one particular one that you use for like workings and readings and so forth like
So
that?
yeah, my booking site, it has all of my services on there. Um, I mostly promote my tarot readings when it comes to anything like and everything though, because that's the skill that I've profound myself in, I like to say. I started off real young, reading cards, doing a lot of bone readings, which a lot of people actually don't know about, which I find interesting. And, divination practices, I'll put it that way. I started off real young doing a lot of divination practices, even before I started my craft overall, because, the movies and all that, I would see like the cards going and, or the tea leaf readings and things like that. And I got off on a tangent. Anyway,
No,
so,
you got me thinking about something you said.
but anyway, so I started off like doing a lot of divination practices. So that's my forte. I get a lot of people who come to me who, do the stereotypical, oh, I want to love reading this, or oh, what's this gonna look like? And I tell them I'm always like, look, I will read you, but I guarantee you, right when you walk out that door, or I do them online, right when we end the Zoom call, you're gonna probably forget about whatever and go about your day. But I will still read you now. And I get a lot of repeat customers because a lot of them say that they don't know how or why or what, but I somehow hit the nail on the head, either on a situation that they're having, or I like tell them, hey, this is going to happen, and it happens to them. And look, I may sound like I'm bragging, but more or less what I'm trying to say is I keep it real, and it comes, it happens.
So, do you still do bone throwing?
I do. Yeah, actually, I did a bone throwing for a client maybe a week ago, and he's never in, been involved with bone throwing before. He was like, "What? How does this work? What are we doing?" And the thing that a lot of people maybe there okay, there is different forms of bone throwing, but my form of bone throwing, you can't ask a specific question. It is going to read the situation. It is going to read you overall and give you like a general idea. Because if you ask a specific question, some of the things just won't make sense because my bone throwing set, each thing is tied to a specific meaning or like a general like idea. It's all very intuitive. It's all very intuitive.
So, where does one go to learn about bone throwing? That's one of those questions I really want to know about.
Personally, I never knew it existed until I saw it come up on YouTube by the Witch of Wonderlust, one of my favorite people to watch, and I love her so much. And she was talking about her osteomancy set, her, her bone throwing kit and whatnot. And I am not one for runes. Runes confuse me to a core that I can't. I've tried, I've tried again, and I've tried multiple times. It looks like a stick with other sticks coming out of it, and I throw it away because I'm like, I can't get it. But when it comes to the bones, and my specific set of bones, yeah. But no, when it comes to my specific set of bones, I have a jawbone from a possum that I picked up off the street. Oh, that's another thing. My entire bone set I handmade, all from bones that I picked off the ground or trinkets here and there. And it all to me means things. The jawbone meaning communication, because it's a jawbone. Like, come on now. Um,
Mhm.
things like that.
Wow, wow, yeah. Definitely want to. I want to look into that. That's one of the forms of divination that I haven't really learned or touched on yet. That I'm very curious about. Um, these this set here is actually these are
Mhm. The
from
owns,
the
I believe.
yeah, yeah, they are. So
I've tried. See, that's another one I've tried, but to me they're just like runes. I'm like, they look what?
is so I'm trying to learn this now. It's this like calls to me more than the other runes that people use. What are those? Oh my God, Viking, is that what
Yeah, the
the
Nordic and so on.
yeah, the
I
Nordic
got you.
ones. Um, these are more like designed for
Yeah,
Druidry
that's
and the
yeah,
Celtic.
that's the Celtic. Oh, I've came across it. I tried so hard to like write them down back in my old journal that I used to have and like
Mhm.
really go at it, figure it out. No, I don't know what it is. And you know, it's funny because my ex fiance at the time when I first started learning how to read bones and whatnot, at least for myself, it's again, it's very intuitive, and that's how I operate. I can operate real good on intuitive measures, which is why I guess tea leaf reading also comes well to me. But the fact that the runes, they do have specific meanings. It just, I
Yeah, that's the part that throws me off a little bit because, like with the cards, regardless of what cards I'm using, um, unless it's a specific Oracle deck or something,
Mhm.
um, I do intuitive reading.
Yeah. No,
So,
I like to say that I'm very intuitive when it comes to my services overall. I don't when I read my cards, the best way I can put it is it's like when I'm reading my client, like say you're my client, it's you and me, and then I just have the cards like as a way to like help me drive the conversation, but I'm not actually reading them. We're having a conversation. And it's funny because in my head, oh, this might make me sound like a loony, but in my head, it's like we go to a whole different place. Like it's just me and you in our own little world, and we're just there.
yeah, that's kind of how it winds up working with me. It's been a while since I've done any ratings, actually, for a minute now. The You know, Patricia, to be honest with you, like I said, I'm still working on like I it's a process trying to memorize and remember and
And
connect with them.
I
And so,
went to school for theater. I was an actor. So you'd think I'd be okay, but no.
yeah, yeah, I get that. I really do. I took acting for a little bit in college, and yeah, you would think I would have some ability to be able to memorize stuff like that, but
Nope.
it's like trying to memorize the 78 cards in a deck of cards is like I remember some of the traditional
Mhm.
meanings, but honestly, like the intuitive
You can
information,
read them intuitively and be like the Rider Waite deck, the most of the meanings, if you really want to know what they mean to a chord, it's all in the imagery. It really is.
it really is. It is. It's
But
chicken scratch.
I mean, chicken scratch, yeah. Yeah. But even then, like when I read people, I like to choose my decks that I read people with based on just how I feel and how I like interact with them. My most common deck, especially for a new client, is the standard Rider Way because it's like it's our introductory. I'm getting to know you, and if you come back, I might use it again, or I might use my Angel deck, which has a bunch of Angel iconography, or my Demon decks. Obviously Demon iconography, things like that. Um, and I've also noticed that depending on what deck I use, weirdly drives the reading and the energy or how the flow of it is going to go. So,
The one I typically is the one that's my go-to deck is the Everyday Witch deck.
mhm,
And it's got a very positive spin to it. It's very even the darker messages like the sword cards and so forth have a more positive
right.
um side to it than some decks do. Um but that's my go-to deck now. Like I'll use the traditional cards some uh but and I have so many decks of cards. I really do. Even after I downsized.
I
So
will say though, the one service that I do not offer online is my tea leaf reading service because you kind of need to be with me and drink tea. So
that, right? Um, and that's one of the things I want to, where's that at again? I just had that a minute ago. It went up there somewhere. Um, the link to your booking site again. It vanished on me.
oh,
Where did it
yeah.
go? Where did it go? I'm not really sure where. Oh, here we go. So there again is the link to Ellie's booking site, um, which we were just talking about, uh, in a sense. So you guys remember to go there and check out what is offered, what they have to offer as far as readings go, and workings on there, because I promise you, you will be in good hands with this particular like
Witchy
hotel.
doer. That's a new one. Okay.
The what?
The witchy doer.
What am I missing? What are you talking about?
I thought that's what you said. I don't know.
Oh, maybe it's, or maybe I did. Oh, who knows? Who knows? Really, who knows? Right?
Yeah.
There's no telling whatever comes out. Um. Oh, and then for all of the links, you can also go here, here, here. I need to cut my nails. I know. Um. But so again, before we close out tonight, even though they have this link here,
Mhm.
tell us again a little bit, give us a little bit of housekeeping on what they can find online for you and what platforms they can find you on.
So my typical style of content, I like to say, is just the everyday life of a witch. To put it in the most simplest terms, you're not going to really see my rituals unless I feel like it. You're not really going to see many spell videos again, unless I'm like, okay, this can be shared and whatnot. You're going to see my normal day to day life, but it can be magical. It sometimes it is, sometimes it's chaotic. But hey, that's the best way to live, I guess. And you can find me on YouTube just as the Prosperity Witch, on TikTok and on Instagram as the Prosperity Witch Ellie. And yeah, just any social media that you can probably type the Prosperity Witch or even the full thing, that's you'll probably find me there.
Right. And I gotta tell you guys, like honestly, like some of the stuff on TikTok is absolutely adorable and funny. So you've got to got to see that content. Uh, so I'm going to get ready, and since we're well into the hour uh, mark on this episode, I'm going to put you in the green room for a moment.
Mhm.
And whenever we close out the live, I'm gonna come back and chat with you for a moment. Uh, but I'm gonna go in and do that and close us out. And I have a new little ending thing for you guys too tonight, because I got really creative during the blackout period on my in my office and was doing stuff on my phone. So if you notice at the beginning tonight, I had stuff going on once we finally started, and and I'll have something. And we've got this cute border. Did you notice the cute border tonight, guys? Um, anyway, again, places you can find me: Facebook under Magical Journey, and obviously YouTube under Magical Journey. And oh yeah, there's magicaljourney.com. See the theme going on there? It's all about Magical Journey, right? So follow, love, like, and don't forget to share. And I will see you guys again next week